Welcome back to Scrolling to Death. This is your host, Nicki Petrossi. Today, I'm going to unpack some eye-opening results from a new national survey distributed to you, American parents who have kids in the K-12 school system. This survey was developed by myself and Chris McKenna at Protect Young Eyes in response to an executive order signed by the president back in April, saying that we need to foster early interest in AI within schools, introducing AI directly to students starting in kindergarten. And we wondered, do parents know about the privacy risks of introducing AI and even EdTech to children at school? Do parents even want their children using AI? So let's get into the results now. And then at the end, I'll recap our meeting at the White House related to this exact topic. Let's start with the basics. 60% of parents told us that their youngest child has been issued a one-to-one device by their school, which means that these children have their very own school-issued laptop, tablet, Chromebook, or iPad. Students typically begin bringing the device home for homework anywhere between 2nd and 5th grade. And these devices aren't just for lessons about technology, they're weaved into most subjects. And that brings us to a section of the survey related to screen time. 32% of parents say their child spends between 30 minutes and 2 hours a day on screens at school. 21% said it's between 2 and 4 hours at school on screens, and 14% say their kids are on screens at school for over 4 hours a day. Now let's talk about time at home on the screens for homework. 28% of parents say their child has zero screen time at home for homework, which is great. Another 25% keep it under 30 minutes. And 37%, the largest group, report 30 minutes to 2 hours spent on homework on their screens. And then 13% go over 2 hours at home. So the rough average for all students is 2.77 hours per day on screens for schoolwork and homework together. And I was curious how this maps out. So the average screen time for non-school work for children aged 8 to 18 years old is 7.5 hours. So we have a total screen time for the average child sitting at 10 hours and 16 minutes per day. Let's say the child sleeps 8 hours, which is unlikely if they're on screens a lot at home, but let's say 8 hours recommended sleep time for children. This only leaves 5 hours and 44 minutes for literally everything else. Non-screen learning, eating, sports or exercise, playing with their friends, reading a book or any non-screen hobby, quality time with family members, or just being bored. It doesn't seem like quite enough time for the important stuff. And this is concerning because many other studies show that screen time at these levels is linked to reduced focus, impaired literacy, and a plethora of mental and physical health issues. And the government is not backing off of tech in schools. Very soon, AI will be making its way to our students' desks. So let's talk about AI now. We asked parents, are your children currently using AI at school? Only 18% said yes, but here's the catch. 42% said, I'm not sure. That means nearly half of parents don't even know if their kids use AI at school. And this is all going to change soon, like I mentioned, with the president's executive order to introduce AI to kids starting in kindergarten. We can expect to see some of those changes this fall. But do parents even want this? We asked parents, do you want your child interacting with AI at school? And a whopping 91% said no. That is a massive parental consensus. AI in classrooms is not something parents are asking for or wanting, and yet it's coming, and it's coming soon. Tech companies are desperate to get their AI tools into schools, and the federal government is recommending some really concerning options for states and school districts to choose from. I checked the list, and we have Roblox and Meta on there. Yes, you heard that right. There are many issues with our children having direct access to AI at school, not limited to misinformation and bias, dangerous and inappropriate content, and serious risks to our children's critical thinking skills, their memory, and their brain development. And this brings up really important questions like, do schools have a right to introduce brain-altering tech to our children without our consent? Can schools even handle and control the AI tools safely when they've already failed with EdTech, which I'll get to a bit later? Now, when it comes to AI, you may need help bringing this up to your school. So myself and Chris McKenna at Protect Young Eyes created a document with important tips and an email template about AI that you can send to your principal before the school year starts. That document is available now at techsafelearning.org under guides and templates, also in my Instagram bio, and I'll put it up at the top of my website in a bar there too at scrollingtodeath.com. Let's move on to privacy concerns. So we already know from an Internet Safety Lab study that 96% of EdTech apps share children's data with third parties. It seems like parents aren't really in the know on this because only 18% of parents say their school has clearly disclosed privacy policies related to EdTech tools. 39% said no, the school has not clearly disclosed this information, and 42% said they're not sure. This is a major red flag. If your child is using digital tools daily, but you have no idea what data is being collected or where that data is going, that's exploitative and a major breach of privacy. The business model of EdTech and AI mirrors that of big tech. It's extractive, it's attention-driven, and data-reliant. If this concerns you, I would recommend going to the website edtech.law. My friends Julie and Andy Liddell, that's their law center, and there's so much research and data information just available on their website. Okay, we're going to move from privacy to inappropriate exposures identified in the survey. We asked parents, have your kids ever seen inappropriate content on a school-issued device? 21% said yes, but nearly 40% said I'm not sure. So in other words, more parents don't know than do, which highlights how little parents are involved in this whole situation of tech at school. Research shows that 1/3 of teens are exposed to pornography during the school day, with nearly half of those children using a school-issued device. And aside from the porn issue, children are accessing self-harm and suicide content at school. They're seeing beheading videos. They're connecting with predators through school-sanctioned sites like Discord. It's no wonder that parents don't feel their children are safe on school tech. We asked that question to parents directly. When your child uses tech at school, do you feel they are safe? Only 6.5% of parents strongly agreed that their kids are safe on school tech. Nearly half of parents fell at the bottom end of that scale, saying they feel uncertain, unsafe, or strongly disagree that their kids are safe on school tech. When it comes to screen time, over 66% of parents are not content with how much their children are using tech at school. And here's the real kicker when it comes to parental rights. Nearly 58% of parents said they feel they have zero say in how much screen time their child is getting at school. So not only are kids getting a ton of screen time at school, leading to inappropriate content exposures, a substandard education, and privacy risks, parents feel powerless to change it. But we are not powerless, and we want change. But we need to be brave enough to speak up, and we need to remember that schools have the ability to change course when it comes to tech at school. Parents like us, we can guide them through being collaborative and opening up these conversations. You can tell your school how much screen time you're comfortable with, or if you're even okay with your child using AI, or when you'd like your child to start interacting with Chromebooks or iPads entirely. And that's one thing that's in a lot of these discussions is when should children be given that device? In most schools, it's in TK or kindergarten. But we ask parents, at what grade do you think children should begin interacting directly with educational technology? Very few parents, less than 2%, said pre-K or kindergarten. Most landed between 4th grade and 9th grade, with the single most popular answer being 6th grade. And here's what surprised me. Over 5% of parents said not until college. That's more parents than those who support tech use in K-3 combined. Suffice it to say, parents think that schools are giving children access to devices way too young. So to summarize, parents are not anti-tech, they're not anti-education, but they are asking for boundaries and transparency and choice, 3 things that the current system is not giving us. If 91% of parents don't want their kids using AI at school and nearly 60% feel they have no say in screen time, clearly something is broken. I really hope this data empowers more parents to speak up to their schools and gives the schools a chance to rethink what real, safe, human-centered learning should look like. Now, this survey was distributed to my audience at Scrolling to Death, to Chris McKenna's at Protect Young Eyes, to Jonathan Haidt at Anxious Generation. These are people who are already educated on the issues related to tech use. So while some may consider that to be a bias, I think that the results here definitely call for additional research. I want to thank all the parents who completed the survey. It is super helpful always to get your feedback. You can access the full survey summary in the episode notes at scrollingtodeath.com. Share it with your principal, your school board, your PTA, your superintendent, and other parents. And just a reminder about that email template about AI at school that is available now. You can use these stats and these tools to open up a conversation on how your school will start prioritizing our children over tech use. If you have any additional questions, please reach out. I also want to invite you directly to a live Q&A that we're hosting just for parents. It's not a webinar. We're not going to present a bunch of stuff. We want to answer any and all questions that come in from parents related to school tech. That virtual event is on August 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and you can register at techsafelearning.org/liveqa. Thank you so much for listening. Please keep me posted on how these resources work for you within your schools, because we're in this together. It's an uphill battle, I'll be honest, but it's an important one because it's about our kids and their safety. So thank you again for listening.